Now, I would like to tell you a prelude information before the presentation that this is an extract of a concept called as Psycho-Cybernetics. It is not going to be on a theoretical basis. All the 10 factors that you're going to see are not only psychological therapies, they are also very, very easy, handy techniques that one youngster can follow in his or her life. Now, let's go. Now, in this graphic, you can see there's something called as conscious mind, and the conscious mind carries something called as goal, and the goal is going to be fetching its own results based on two important things. Let's say, for example, Siddharth is listening to this presentation, and Siddharth has got a conscious mind, and he has a goal to be accomplished in the month of February 2022. Now, Siddharth has preset in his mind that the result has to be on February 10th, 2022. He has got the date on a very exact manner, and he has got the timeline on a very exact manner, and he needs to be aware of the fact that this result is only going to be possible if these two things are properly on its shape. And those two things are Siddharth's self-image and Siddharth's work order. If any information or any hierarchical mistake that is made in these two, the result will be completely off. However stronger a person is, and however predominant a person's intention is to accomplish a goal, if the person does not have a proper self-image and a proper work order, the result is not going to show up, no matter how much efforts the person is going to put up. And when I say the kinds of work order, what do I mean by work order? Self-image, yes, we are going to speak about it, but what is this work order? Work order is the set of actions and courses of actions the person is going to take. Even that is secondary, but the primary one is self-image. So we are coming to a real conclusion that a goal can be possible only if the self-image of the person is properly groomed. How can that be done? A proper self-image of a person is an art. Now you're seeing two important features here. One is called as the ASM and another one is called as the AFM. ASM stands for automatic success mechanism and AFM stands for automatic failure mechanism. Now coming back to the example of Siddharth. Siddharth and Tanishwar are two good friends, and Siddharth says to Tanishwar that he is going to accomplish the goal. And let us take an example of a goal accomplishment. Let's say, for example, Siddharth is working on a science project, and he says he's going to submit the science project in his school on February 10th, 2022. And Tanishwar, as a good friend, is also excited about Siddharth's idea. And let's see the ASM and AFM factor getting inside this conversation of two friends. When Siddharth is saying about the project, he is really very careful about the words he chooses and the way he personifies himself and the kind of images, visuals that he is holding in his mind when he speaks to Tanishwar. Tanishwar, at the same time, when he's receiving the information from Siddharth, is not really receiving in the same way that Siddharth is trying to portray or magnify that particular substance. And Tanishwar says, come on, man, I mean, the way you are describing, the way you are explaining, I don't think it's going to get the full shape on February 10th, 2022. No way. Come on, he's joking. So this is what is the inner conversation of Tanishwar when he listens to it. But Siddharth, poor Siddharth, doesn't know that Tanishwar is thinking in these lines, but he is explaining as an innocent boy. Now, two individuals working on the same fashion, one explains the particular project, another one receives the information about the project. If you could see, Tanishwar is a person who is involved in this particular thing. He has a critic within. Yes, he criticizes the nature of the project. He criticizes how Siddharth is going to fare this up. He criticizes Siddharth's explanation, and he's almost cynically thinking that submitting a project like that on February 10th is going to be completely impossible. So a person who has got critic within is a person with AFM, which is called as automatic failure mechanism. Here Tanishwar doesn't doubt himself. he doubts the friend. When he is able to doubt the friend, then when he is supposed to prepare a project, when it comes to his turn, he will do the same for his own self, because he is practiced in terms of making critic within. So there is a big alibi that's living inside Thaneshwar. That's called as the critic within. And as long as the critic within is living inside, that particular person will be working on AFM mode, and that is called as automatic failure mechanism mode. Siddhartha, on the other hand, is properly grooming his self-image, and he doesn't even think that there is an iota of possibility that his project is going to be a failed one. So he has a very good self-image, therefore he is working on the automatic success mechanism. So in this presentation, what I would like to emphasize as the first point is see on which mode you are actually working. See on which mode you are actually speaking. Is it ASM mode or AFM mode? If it is AFM mode, then we need to talk. If it is ASM mode, and if you are stabilizingly mentioning that you have practiced your mindset to think on the AFM mode, then you are one among the top 1% of the entire world. So this presentation is going to give you some tips, some exercises in order to convert yourself as into ASM mode and get rid of AFM mode. And that's a very good riddance, I tell you. Now, as per the Psycho-Cybernetics law, self-confidence of a person is made of 4 different components. If a person is vouching that he or she is self-confident, then it literally means the person has got all these 4 entities. Number 1, the person has got the knowledge. Number 2, the person has got the necessary skills. Number 3, the person is driven upon automatic success mechanism. And number 4, the person should have a relaxed mindset, and the person should be able to relax himself or herself at any given point of time in order to remove the clutter that are acting as the stumbling blocks of having the self-confidence. So many of us have seen a lot of challenges in our lives. Now, take the example of Guru Prasanna, a 9th grader, Siddharth, a 9th grader, and Dhaneshwar, a 9th grader. So in this span of 14 to 15 years, these 3 boys have been living, and they have been seeing, and they have been facing, and they have been surmounting a lot of problems, challenges, tricks, and cumbersome situations. And in all those situations, these 3 boys have been telling themselves that I am a self-confident person. And sometimes some cloud, some negativity had been surmounting into their mind. And that's because the lack of any of these 4. Let's say Guru Prasanna might have ASM at that moment, might have the knowledge at that moment, but he might not have the necessary skill to portray to somebody that he's a fulfilled person. A lack of any of these 4 will definitely make a slashing impact on the self-confidence of a person. You should not come to a conclusion that self-image is easy to be built on. Self-image can be found to be easily built on by developing these 10 factors. We spoke about ASM, integral factor number 1, and we spoke about self-image, integral factor number 2. These 2 are integrated and interrelated to each other. How to achieve that? Let's look into some of the exercises without taking further. Positive self-expectancy. What do you mean by positive self-expectancy? Positive self-expectancy means it's basically holding the optimism. It's holding the hope. It's holding the enthusiasm to do a particular task. And it is completely opposite. Now, when I say antonyms, it means that is completely opposite to positive expectancy. What's not positive expectancy? That's how you need to view this presentation. What is positive expectancy and what is not positive expectancy? What is positive expectancy? Holding the optimism, holding the hope, and holding the enthusiasm. What is not positive expectancy? Pessimistic thinking, cynical thinking, and holding a despair. What if fear or expect most will come to pass? If you don't have positive expectancy, you will have fear. And if you have fear, that thing that you're fearing is going to come to you. I will share this presentation and you will have to have a detailed look into the questions of every integral factor that develops a self-image. The first integral factor that develops a self-image is positive self-expectancy. And this particular list contains the 5 questions that you need to ask within yourself so that your positive self-expectancy can be developed. Look at the first question. Am I generally optimistic about all aspects of my life? Am I expecting the best of health for myself? When I'm discouraged, do I involve in form of self-pity? Do I look at personal problems as potential opportunities? Do I praise more often than I criticize? And yes, for the first question is giving us the substance that the laboratory report is your positive self-expectancy is 20%. Yes to the second question makes your positive self-expectancy as 40%. Yes in the third question brings your positive self-expectancy down to an extent of 25% because you're a person who is self-sympathizing. A self-sympathizing person cannot hold positive. Oh my God, why God is always very unfair to me? Why is it happening to me alone? Why God, why? Self-pity. A person who has got positive self-expectancy will not have time to have the self-pity. So the answer should be no for the third question. And if the answer is yes for the fourth question, then you again have positive self-expectancy. And the answer is yes for the fifth question, then you are a very nice person to be around with because you don't find fault, you only praise and encourage. Okay, now I have finished my laboratory test about my positive self-expectancy. Now what can I do? What are the actions I should take for improving my positive self-expectancy? Action number 1, I should read a lot of inspirational messages at idle time. Number 2, always use positive self-talk. Number 3, view problems as opportunities. Number 4, use problem statement method. And number 5, be realistic in thinking and optimistic in actions. These are all some of the prescribed actions that you can take for developing your positive self-expectancy. But above all, positive self-expectancy is working on you, or it is developing inside you only when you're having your self-talk properly regulated. That's a shortcut method. Look at the slide. It contains the sample of winners' self-talk and losers' self-talk. It was good today, I'll be better tomorrow. That's winner's self-talk. With my luck, I was bound to fail. That's loser's self-talk. I can give n number of examples other than this. So the first point you need to think about positive self-expectancy is, how am I talking to myself? So in order to make the long story short, we have seen the realization that goals can be finished with only proper self-image and proper work order. And then we narrowed down towards the concept that we need to have good automatic success mechanism and we need to get rid of automatic failure mechanism. And we started with the tools to emphasize ASM and emphasize good self-image. In that, the first tool was positive expectancy. And we have now finished seeing what is positive self-expectancy. And now let us go to the second one. The second self factor, it's called as the positive self-motivation. Again, what's self-motivation and what's not self-motivation? Desire for change, excitement and excitation, a positive urge to do something. What's not self-motivation? Fear, compulsion, inhibition. The theme of positive self-motivation is winners dwell on the desires, not on the self-limitations. We all have self-limitations, but when we focus on the self-limitations, then we don't have something called as positive self-motivation. Well, the 5 questions that you need to ask within yourselves. Welcome to the laboratory, where you can test how much positive self-motivation you are having. The first question, what are my dominant fears? Guru Prasanna asks, what are my dominant fears? Well, one of my dominant fears is standing on the stage and speaking in front of my classmates and my teachers. Well, I recently came across with that. I made a presentation and I got 8 out of 10 in that. So which means I have positive self-motivation. Yes, I have really come through the fear. I'm really happy about it. This is the kind of self-work that you need to do to stabilize your positive self-motivation. What motivating effects do these fears have? Well, even if there are fears, let us not omit and eliminate the fears. Let's respect the fears and let's try to analyze the fears. And the best way to analyze the fear is asking this question: what is the motivating effect do these fears have? Dale Carnegie, one of the award-winning public speaking authors, says, fear of appearing on stage is very, very essential. Charles Darwin, a theorist, he also, excuse me, he also says a kind of a fear, an amount of fear is always essential. What's the third question? What are my dominant desires? Dominant desires and dominant fears. Lethal combination, right? It's a wonderful competition between these two. That's the third question you need to ask within yourself. Fourth one, do I focus most of my attention and thoughts on all these desires alone? Or do I focus most of my attention towards my fear alone? That's the fourth question you need to ask. Fifth question, do I focus on rewards of success more than penalties of failures? Well, these are all some of the laboratory questions you need to ask, which will reveal how much is your self-motivation. Well, I would like to give the prescribed action applications. That you have gone to the doctor has made the laboratory test, and now according to the laboratory test results, the doctor is giving you the prescribed medicine. And this is a prescribed action for developing your positive self-motivation. Repeat the vocabulary: I want to and I can. Focus your attention and energy only on the accomplishment and objectives and desires, not on your fear. And use theater in mind technique. Well, welcome to the first ever psychological technique in this particular presentation. Theater in mind. Well, my dear boys, theater in mind is a fantastic exercise, and that gives you great impact in working on your positive self-motivation. Step number one, you need to choose a particular time. Step number two, you need to choose a particular place. Step number three, you need to sit quietly without any distraction. Step number four, you need to be away from all the technological equipments. Step number five, close your eyes. And step number six, imagine a wonderful Supermax theater in your mind. A fantastic theater with this kind of a curtain and people sitting around with you, or a very big gallery, or kind of a fantastic seating arrangement gallery where you are sitting in the middle and you don't have any person to collide with you. And look at the stage. It's you and only you. And you run the screen and you run the movie. The superhero is you, the director, the screenplay writer, the dialogue script writer. Everybody and every single person is you. And the theater is going to run the movie called as your life. So you see your entire life in the theater. What are all the events you want to happen in your life? Let's say 2022. What are the events you want to happen in 2022? What are the kinds of feeling you would like to have in 2022? What are the kinds of accomplishments you would like to have in the academic platform in 2022? In 2022, you are finishing your 9th grade and you are going to step into your 10th grade. You are already into the 10th grade. Most of you might have started your classes for the 10th grade as well. So theater in mind is a fabulous experience where you have no limit and you're feeding your subconscious mind about how your life has to be. And this generates the positive self-motivation into the person. And if the theater in mind, like you see the substances, you see the events, you feel the happiness, you feel the joy, and you watch the movie for several minutes without any disturbance, yeah, distraction is quite possible. So when you are getting distracted, cut the clutter out, come back to the theater screen. Again, you are distracted, cut the clutter out, come back. Be here now. Always tell yourself, be here now. Be here in the theater. Watch the screen. Come back to the screen. I want to see the screen. So for 20-25 minutes, watch the movie. And then count from 1 to 20. Open your eyes. exercise complete. Each time when you are going to the theater in mind, you are coming up with a good amount of information about your own self and you're feeling so good, so incredibly good. And this activity, every single day, raises your positive self-motivation. See your self-image in the mind theater every day morning. See your goals already achieved on the theater screen. Make it so real and vivid. Enjoy the experience. Do it twice a day. This is my first therapy in this presentation, and fantastic time to start. We have a whole new year to start with, and we have a fantastic exercise to start. If you have a positive self-motivation, your self-talk, and if you're a winner, your self-talk will be, I want to and I can do it. If you don't have a positive self-motivation, then it is a loser self-talk. And the loser self-talk is, I have to, I cannot. Positive self-image, the third one. What's positive self-image and what's not positive self-image? Constructive imagination, visualization, creativity. And what's not self-image? What's not PSI? PSI stands for positive self-image. Dark images, worries, self-criticisms. The theme of positive self-image is what you see is what you get. Simple. Welcome to the laboratory, the positive self-image laboratory, and you need to ask these questions to see how much positive self-image you have. Do I still hold great dreams for my future? Well, nice question. Do I imagine my monthly and yearly coming attractions? Do I really imagine how my month has to be, how many years have to be? Is my self-image a goal-achieving mechanism or is it a self-limiting handicap? What are some of my greatest talents? That's where the key remains. On to the fourth question. That's where the key remains. What are my greatest talents? We cannot be Albert Einstein's and Isaac Newton's to possess world-class talents. We have some talents, and that's what I'm going to ask you to think about during the fourth question. Fifth question is even more better and sharp, straight to the point. What is it? What am I not good at and why? What's a preventing factor for self-image and why? Here you need to take out the maligned factor, the malignation, the poisonous thing out. Right, after the laboratory, well, the action card using subconscious mind activation technique. This is my next therapy to you in order to raise your self-image properly. Subconscious mind activation technique. Excuse me. This is not similar to theater and mind technique, but it has got huge amount of implications along with theater and mind technique. Subconscious mind activation technique is a very, very shortcut process, more vivid even than the theater and mind technique. Step number 1, choose a place. Step number 2, choose a time. Step number 3, sit back, relax. Relaxation, sitting back and relaxation are the key factors for all the therapies. So once you sit back and relax, and the next step is imagine that your brain has got 2 different sections, left section and right sections. In the left section, you're having all the logical information, and in the right section, you're having all the creative implications. So here, you are getting into the process of activating the right side of the brain more. The right side of the brain contains more creative mechanisms. So you tell yourself that whenever I need solutions for my problems, I'm going to ask my right section of the brain. Whenever I need some sort of answers for some trivial and tricky questions, I'm going to ask my right brain. Whenever I have huge amount of crisis, I'm going to ask the solution from my right brain. So this is called a subconscious activation technique, and an extension of it is called as the 3-finger technique and 3-picture technique. I have separate videos on 3-picture technique and 3-finger technique. Those two are instantaneous ways of using the subconscious activation. I will be sharing the link of those 2 videos. So when I say subconscious activation technique, I'm meaning only those 2, because those 2 therapies that is 3-picture technique and 3-finger technique, are really capable enough to activate your subconscious. So that's the prescribed therapy for improving positive self-image. Winner's self-talk as far as positive self-image is concerned. I see myself changing, growing, achieving, and winning. Loser's self-talk, if there is zero positive self-image in him or her, they will be speaking like this. I'm stuck up with my faults and stupidities. I cannot get across the rut. See your friends. They have these kinds of self-talk. If they have these kinds of self-talk, stay away from them. Now, before I get into PSD, called as positive self-direction, Guru Prasanna, Taneshwar, and Siddharth, do you have any questions thus far?
No, sir. The presentation
No,
was.
sir.
No, sir. Sir, I have one
Sir.
question.
Yeah, Guru Prasanna first and then Siddharth. Yes, Guru Prasanna, you were able to say something.
Yes, sir. Sir, like, do you have any videos, like specific videos for theater in mind, and like, do you have any videos for that, sir? Like the subconscious mind activation technique. Also, do you have any specific videos for that, sir?
I have a video explaining about the theater in mind and subconscious activation, but I have only explained, but getting extensively step by step for that particular purpose, I think I'll have to make it ready. So there is a particular video called as the 10 Self Factors by Manian Sundaresan. That's the title of the video. I have all those things, all these things that I'm explaining right now, explained in that video. But there is no specific explanation or a demo video for theater in mind. But I will make one and I will share it to you. In 2 days or 3 days, I'll make a video and I will share it with you.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So that's.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah.
So what would you call this technique in like a simpler way?
Which technique?
Like either one of them.
Theater in mind. I mean, you just call theater in mind. Theater in mind is a very dramatic and kind of inducing title, you know. So when I say theater in mind, I get personally induced to do that. And subconscious mind activation is not actually the title of the exercise, but 3-finger technique and 3-picture technique are forms of subconscious activation.
Okay, sir.
And Guru Prasanna, thank you for the praise that you have given. You said the presentation was good. Thank you so much. I'll continue the same way.
Yes, sir. So, like the questions like the questions are the important thing. I hope, sir, in all the 3 things.
You're right. You're right. That's why I have made the presentation in that way. And most of the members who have attended this presentation have given me a lot of positive remarks. I specifically showed in some of the faculty development program, and the faculty members were really inspired with this presentation, and many people have gone to soft copies of these presentations too. So more than them, it is useful for you. That's why I'm presenting it today.
Yes, sir.
All right. Shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which brings me to the next one, which is called as a positive self-direction, PSD. What's positive self-direction and what's not positive self-direction? Goal seeking, always being purpose-oriented in every form of action, being passionate. The character Dhruv that you have developed, and I was seeing your preparation yesterday, the video of your 2-hour preparation yesterday. You're trying to involve positive self-direction into this character Dhruv, right? So what's the antonyms? What's not positive self-direction? Aimless, non-specific, and wandering. If you feel, you know, you come across with your friends, and when some of your friends say that they are bored, then they don't have a positive self-direction. A person who says he or she is bored, the person does not have a goal, and the person does not have a positive self-direction. The theme of positive self-direction is what you get is what is said. Welcome to the laboratory of PSD. What's my most important life goal? Well, that concludes everything, doesn't it? You know, when a person is coming up with an answer for this question, that concludes everything. Goal for my life? Come on, I mean, that's too vague. Why are you asking such a question to me? I haven't thought about it. Well, if you give me some time, the person coming up with this reaction is the most biggest garbage you can ever see in your life. If you see a person spending at least 3 or 4 minutes thinking about the life's goal, then you have to stay away from that person. Second question, where do I want to be 5 years from now? At least an answer for this would do. 5 years from now. We're at the fag end of 2021. In 2026, where would I be? What would I be doing? What would I be having? What would I be rendering? What would I be giving? And how developed I would be? Every president of a nation, every prime minister of a nation is thinking about it. I mean, in 5 years, where do I want to take my country to? What am I trying to achieve? What kind of prosperity I would like to bring for my country? It's the same case with an individual as well. What will be my income and assets at my age of 65? It's a very interesting question. It has got lots of quantifying information attached with it. What's my objective for next year? What is my important priority next month? Look at this. A person who has got the positive self-direction is always holding a GPS map for the next month, for the next year, for the 5 years later from. This is what is so important. So these are all the questions you need to ask. And once the laboratory test is over, now the action that is given, the prescription action to be given for developing positive self-direction is vision board. MS evening session is very familiar in this vision board. 2021 beginning, 2020 beginning, and 2019 inception year of MS evening session. In all these 3 years, students have presented their vision boards. Well, vision board also, Siddharth has presented. Tanishwar is yet to make his vision board presentation because he has joined new, but vision board is something that is a blueprint of what you would like to do in the future, how the future would be, what are the kinds of life luxury you would like to have, what are the kind of contribution you would like to. Look at this vision board. I mean, right from what kind of sport and where the person wants to watch, what kind of car, what kind of travel arrangement, what kind of luxury, what kind of books the person will read, how is going to be the fitness, and what kind of relationship. Every single thing of the life has been snapshotted and has been put into the vision board. And looking into the vision board every single day, feeling that it is going to be happening every single day, will make wonders, because vision board takes you to the proper direction, which is going to be a destination. It's pretty old. Make it 2022 instead of 2014. I created this presentation in 2013, November. So that's why it is holding a future vision board. And you people were 5 years old when this presentation was made. The self-talk of a positive, self-directed person. I will have planned to make it happen. I will do what is necessary to get what I want. A loser self-talk who does not have positive self-direction. I will try, but it is difficult and dry. I would like to welcome you to the next positive self factor, which is called as a positive self-control. Let's see what's self-control and what's not. Self-determination, positive and disciplined choices. What's not positive self-control? Irresponsibility and indecision. Theme, life is a do-it-yourself project. I'm responsible for everything in my life. And let's get into the laboratory. First question, do I believe more in luck? Do I think that I have many burdens to be finished in life? What are different control influences in my world? How can I better control what happens to me? How much is the degree of control I have towards my life? How much is the degree of locus of control I have towards my life? Well, if you have answers for these questions, then you are a very concrete self-controlled person. If you don't have, then the prescription is Psycho-Kinesis Technique, another therapy in this particular presentation. We have spoken about it. The person who does this particular technique can do energy communication. Shaolin Temple believes that if a person does this for about 8 or 9 years, or at least for a decade, the person can do energy communication. The person can make this pendulum oscillate by looking into it and having an energy communication. The person can make this flower float around into the flower vase by, looking into it. The person can bend the spoon, the person can lift things around and all that. That's what Shaolin Temple says, that if you're doing the psychokinesis, after 10 years or several years, you will get this mastery. We're not aiming for that mastery because we are no superheroes, we're just ordinary human beings. Lighting up a candle and looking into the flame for 10 to 20 minutes and concentrating on it. It's called as a Psycho-Kinesis Technique. When this technique was started in the 9th century, exclusively by Japanese and Chinese people, it was so popular. People discovered that their illness had been taken into control of. But after the evolution of the psychologists, Dr. William Blake, Dr. Sigmund Freud, Dr. Charles Darwin, Dr. Charles Jung, not Darwin, Dr. Charles Jung, and specifically Dr. Jeff Thompson and very recent authors, Tom Hopkins. There is an actor by the same name, and we have another person, Mr. Alfred Gestalt, who has been the inventor of Gestalt therapy. Martin Seligman. Martin Seligman is the most modern psychologist. All these people have given certified name for it, and that name is called as Psycho-Kinesis Technique. They say by looking into Martin Seligman exclusively in his Thoughts by Seligman's footnotes in one of his books he has written, by gazing at the candle flame for some longer span of time will give you extraordinary mental control, and it gives you self-control. It will make you the master of doing what, deciding what to do and what not to do. I'm studying and all of a sudden I'm motivated to take this phone and I would like to check my notification. That's a distraction. Psychokinesis helps you not to get into it. It gives you self-control. I'm motivated and I am pushed to get into the self adversities that could possibly come and hit me during the teenage. Psychokinesis helps you to have good sustenance, and it keeps you better, and it keeps you on a proper controlled basis. You can control your behavior, you can control your choices. So that's the therapy attached to attached to the next one, which is called as the PSC, positive self-control. Self-talk, positive self-control. I take the credit or blame for my own performance. Loses self-talk. I can't understand why life does this to me. A person who feels that the person doesn't even have any locus of control over the life. The person feels and speaks very dejected. And if the person speaks very dejected, it means the person is not only controlling himself, he's not also controlling the life. I would like to welcome you to get into the next factor, which is called as a positive self-discipline. What's positive self-discipline? Achievement stimulation, drill, work more, slog more, practice. What's not positive self-discipline? Repetitive error. Not discipline to take control of the error which has already happened and repeating the same. Inconsistency and lack of follow-through. Theme, regulate your habits, regulate your life. Let's get into the laboratory test. Do I complete the projects that I begin? Do I have the habit of rehearsing in my imagination? Do I have a memory, or at least a decent memory? Do I have the bad habits that I can not seem to break? Do I really think that there are some bad habits in me that are not getting broken? Do I have positive dreams that are very consistent? An answer of yes for the first question and the fifth question clearly means that you're a very good person in terms of positive self-discipline. The three-finger technique, another subconscious mind activation technique. We have already spoken about it. This is a prescribed therapy for bringing positive self-discipline. The index finger, the middle finger, and the thumb. But in my three-finger technique videos, I have 3 videos in my YouTube channel speaking about 3-finger technique. I always give this suggestion. Instead of this, I always give this suggestion. It's called as the Apan Mudra in Sanskrit, in Mudra healing mechanisms, and it is representing confidence. So instead of this, I changed this. Make contact of the tips of your thumb, index finger, and middle finger, or these 3 fingers. Close your eyes and count from 1 to 10. Keep the 3 fingers in the palm and tell yourself, when I keep these 3 fingers like this, my memory enhances. My concentration enhances, and I get supreme power to use my mind to the fullest. So you condition this first, and then after conditioning of 10 to 15 days, when you are studying, and if you keep these 3 fingers and you are studying, things automatically get into your mind. You don't forget things and you don't lose your concentration. So that's about 3-finger technique method. Winner's self-talk, who has a good self-discipline? Yeah, about the 3-finger technique, you always have a video. You can always go to that video and you can watch it. I'll give the link, or just type Manikandan Sundaresan, or just Google Manikandan Sundaresan 3-finger technique. You will get all the important videos necessary about 3-finger technique. You can watch it. Winner self-talk, of course I can do it. I have practiced it mentally 1,000 times. Loser self-talk, well, how can I expect me to do it? I don't know how.
Sir,
Yeah.
Sir, Dakshana joined.
Yeah. I'll finish it.
Yes, sir.
Dakshin knows this presentation. He has already underwent this presentation. I think it was in the first ever class on February 17, 2020. So it will be good for him to reframe it again. We'll continue, Professor.
Yes, sir.
Which brings me to positive self-esteem. What's positive self-esteem and what's not positive self-esteem? Positive self-esteem is self-worth, holding a self-respect, and holding self-confidence. What's not positive self-esteem is having a doubt within yourself and depreciating yourself, always undermining yourself and running yourself down, and self-consciousness. Loving yourself and respecting yourself. Well, let's get into the laboratory questions of positive self-esteem. Do I accept myself just as I am today? Is there anyone I'm jealous about? Am I extremely a humble person? Do I feel guilty if I involve myself in any selfish activity? Is it easy for me to accept compliments or praises from others? Well, if you have a narrow-minded thinking into these questions, or if you just jump into the synchronicity of this question, you can understand only one theme, and that theme is how much you are highlighting yourself amongst others, how much you are trying to put yourself into the limelight amongst others, while the other people are also there. So, little egotistical pattern is also peeping. So after this laboratory questions, then you come to this particular technique called as a SWISH pattern technique. The solution, the prescribed solution for having good self-esteem is a SWISH pattern technique. So SWISH pattern technique is available, again, Manikandan Sundaresan SWISH pattern technique. You Google, you get the video. So let us not talk completely about SWISH pattern technique here. You already have the prescribed video, so you can go and watch that. But here in this presentation, you have to only know that, when I was doing the CRS for Siddharth and Taneshwar was asking about the therapies. Now Taneshwar knows what are all the important therapies, and now he will be having the curiosity to go and check up the therapies. Winner self-talk. I do things well because I am that type of person. Loser self-talk. I would rather be someone else. So a person who has got the positive self-esteem will have the self-talk like you are seeing as the first item in this slide. Having said that, I would like to SWISH pattern. So the SWISH pattern, I told you that you have to check up the video. Once you check the video, you would understand the importance of these colors, the red color screen and the green color screen. One day we will have an extensive explanation about SWISH pattern. It's been so long since we had an extensive session on a therapy. I'd like to bring you to the next one, the positive self dimension. What's positive self dimension? Holding up an image of you being a total person, holding a good vision, and trying to be humanist all through. And what's not self dimension? What's not positive self dimension? Egocentricity, superficiality, and being shallow. Positive self dimension's theme is seeing the big picture always, not only big picture, the huge picture. Let's get into the laboratory question. How much big thinker you really are? Do I share my success with others really? Do I spend time in living in my past? Good memories? Do I really have a big picture of things? Or am I limiting myself? Do I have the ability of seeing myself as a change maker or a difference creator? Well, these questions will give you some answers by clinically asking your questions to your conscience. Water glass technique is the therapy. One of my personal favorite therapies, very shortcut therapy. Listen to me very carefully. Technique. Before getting to sleep in the night, take half glass of water. Close your eyes and count from 1 to 10. At every sip, tell yourself, at each sip of water, as the water goes and seeps into my body, whatever the problem you have, not only concentration and memory, if you have any problem, or if you hold any crisis at school, or if you hold any problem at family, or you are expecting uncertainties, and some of the uncertainties, and you are tested, you are in the testing time of the uncertainty. So I would like to recall when I used this technique last time was when my brother was having a problem, and Amritesh, my brother's elder son, was holding a problem, and there was a kind of a clash between my brother and his son. I used this water glass technique. It was an uncertainty that I was going through, and I had only a kind of a tinge of control towards that particular problem. So I did not have much to do with that problem, but I thought I can get some thought waves going and attacking those two. That I can do. At least I believe that I can do. So I took the water glass, and I think it was last year, 2020. When did I go to Bangalore for? Yeah, 2020. Yeah, I still remember conducting a US batch class from my Bangalore house, my brother's house. Yeah, that's fine. I did it in my brother's house itself. They all sleep at 9:15. Donald Duck family, they sleep at 9:15. So naturally, myself, mom, and Mitra, we were also staying there. So we also had to sleep at 9:15. So by 9:10, I took the water glass, and I had a sip of water. And each time I told myself, you see, tomorrow morning, I'm going to speak to my brother and Amritesh about this. And I'm going to be very candid about this. And each sip of water that is soaking into my body gives me the proper levels of thinking alignment and the proper choice of words and thought-provokingness so that the issue can be solved. And I think it is definitely going to happen. I have only 2 days time here. Today is Sunday, tomorrow is Monday, and the day after, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, I am leaving back home. So in these 2 days, I am going to resolve this issue as a good uncle for my nephew and as a good younger brother for my elder brother. I'm going to resolve this, and I'm seeing myself getting resolved this. Each sip of water that is seeping in gives me that. That was one of few wonderful glasses of water that I have ever had in my life, in my lifespan. It tasted so good. So whenever I was attaching this therapy along with this, so that's called as water glass therapy. What happens here is I took 15 sips of a glass of water. So 15 times you condition and your subconscious, when you're consuming something, your subconscious mind is wide open. So when you eat, when you consume, or when you consume juices, or when you consume water, when you are tasting something so good, when you are having a good relationship, or when you're having a good conversation with your close ones, these are all the events when your subconscious mind is wide open. So you hit on that process and you get the result, whatever it is. 3 days. I did this water glass therapy 3 days. It was the 4th day. Yeah, I was able to speak with a lot of sense, and the issue got solved. Yeah. Let's not get into the details of the issue, but I can rest assured that the issue was solved. This is called as a water glass therapy. Conditioning your mind to work on your favor. I live every moment enjoying and using my fullest potential. Winner self-talk with self-dimension. I'm only concerned with my life problems. Loser self-talk without self-dimension. I think we are coming to the close of the presentation with this positive self-awareness. What's positive self-awareness? Self-honesty, empathy, openness. What's not positive self-awareness? Dishonesty, insensitivity, and limited tunnel vision. The theme of positive self-awareness is seeking improvement and continuous learning without ego. Let's get into the laboratory of questions. Let's see how much positive self-awareness you have. Do I always see opportunities for my improvement? Do I honestly know my own limits in my personal and professional life? Do I resist change and want to be comfortable? Would I like to be married to me? And would I like a parent like me? Well, the 4th and 5th question are very, very sharp, and it gives you a lot of consensuous meaning when you get an answer. To me, I would say no for the 4th question, and I would say no for the 5th question. So, how much aware you really are about yourself? The life rebooting technique, it's another therapy, and I'm working on it, but I would like to explain it here, which is the prescribed solution for having positive self-awareness. I would like to see how much you are interested in this technique called as life rebooting, and it contains 10 power emotions. Okay, this is called as a life rebooting wheel. You propel the wheel, and the wheel gives you solution. Positive self-awareness solution, this one. Positive self-emotion, that is power emotion. I mean, this wheel contains 10 power emotion. Take a current challenge that you're facing and put that right into the middle. What are the challenges? You don't tell me. 4 people are listening to this presentation. Take a challenge right now. What are the challenges? And fix the challenge over here. Okay. It's personal, and let us not talk about it. But you make all these analysis within yourself. The rebooting wheel's intention is to solve the problem that you have put into the middle. And using any one of the power emotions. Now let's quickly glance through the power emotions. Power emotion number 1, cultivate the emotion of love and warmth. Will the current challenge that you have put here in the middle be solved by this one? Think about it. This means this power emotion, first one. The first power emotion means, behaving with love and warmth. Behaving with love and warmth and showing a lot of consoling way and being so nice. Power emotion number 2. Cultivate the emotion of appreciation and gratitude. Live with an attitude of gratitude. Being gratified, holding the sense of gratitude. Will that solve this problem? Power emotion number 3. Learn to be inquisitive as a child. Cultivate curiosity. If that is something to be learned in order to solve this problem, then you jump into that learning, then it means you are using power emotion number 3. Now, after seeing this power emotion number 10, let's take a brainstorming quick Delphi technique call. When I say Delphi technique call is, I ask a question, you process the answer in your mind and you say yes or no, alone, outside. Because you 4 are working up with the current challenge. You have already put a current challenge over here, right? So after seeing all these 10, I'm going to ask each one, like, which power emotion will solve your problem? Okay, Dakshin, which power emotion will solve your problem? Okay, Guru, which power emotion will solve yours? Siddharth, which one yours? Sanish, which one will solve your problem? I'm going to ask and you are going to answer. Power emotion number 4, cultivate the feeling of excitement and passion. Yeah, so holding up excitement and creating the creating the desire, creating the likelihood, driven towards passion. Power emotion number 5, determination makes a difference. Being determined. There's always a difference between being stuck and getting progressed. Yes, I don't like this rut. Yes, I don't like this is kind of traumatic situation, but still I'll get through this. That's power emotion number 5. Power emotion number 6, flexibility. Okay, fine. So let's go like a Zen monk, let's have the attitude of flexibility. Let's not be very stern. Let's not be very stubborn, but just have the attitude of flexibility so that we can surmount this problem. Most of the time, power emotion number 6 will come very, very handy. Power emotion number 7, confidence. Consistently experience the confidence. With the power of faith, you can always imagine accomplishing the thing and catch that certainty, certain body language, certain behavior, and holding that sense of certainty. That's power emotion number 7. My personal choice all the time. Power emotion number 8, cheerfulness. It means living in pain will not give you gain. So don't live in pain. Just be lucid. Cheer up. Get some humor. Live life. Kind of attitude. Power emotion number 9. If any of these 8 solutions are not going to be handy, then there is something problem. There's something problematic in your health. So nurture your own vitality and health. Get a doctor's advice. Run few tests. And see if your vitals are possibly going on a proper level of streamed fashion. Power emotion number 10, and the final one, it's more spiritual. Attitude of giving. Secret of life. Secret to living is giving. How did I give? Yeah, I'm in trouble, but I would like to help someone. Because I have read in a sacred kind of an article that if I do something to somebody and life automatically returns a favor to me. So I would like to get into the altruistic principle of doing something to someone. 10 power emotions. We'll start with Siddharth. You tell me which power emotion is going to solve your problem. It can be one, and it can be a combination of 2 or 3. And tell me what kind of challenge you have put into the middle. That's your personal.
For me, sir, it would be either power emotion number 1 or power emotion number 4.
Love and warmth or excitement and passion. Wow, that's very harmless. You're not harming anybody by choosing either of these, and still you are getting through. Good choice. Tanishwar.
Power emotion 10 and power emotion 7.
Consistently experiencing confidence, and the secret of living is giving. And I would like to contribute more. Consume less and contribute more. And consistently experience confidence and having the faith. 2 major choices again by Tanishwar. All right. Guru Prasanna.
Yes, sir. Sir, like I have just inserted the biggest challenge that I have here, sir. Sir, for that I hope, I'll definitely say 5, 8 will help us, sir. And I think 6 will also be helpful, sir. 5, 6, and 8.
Being totally determined, being flexible, and being cheerful. Wow, what a combination. It's definitely going to help you out because you are having a 3-headed focus. The locus of focus is 3-headed: cheerfulness, adaptability and flexibility, and determination. Right, that's good. Action.
So I would go with the power emotion 6, which is being flexible and being able to tackle a lot of different problems. That's what flexibility is. And also power emotion number 5 to an extent.
Determination and flexibility. Well, okay, right. So again, being so determined and holding up the inner storms and having the barricades that the inner storm does not come and affect us, at the same time being flexible with the inner storm. Right, that's a knack. This is called as life rebooting therapy. Always hold this wheel, and when you're having a situation, just put that particular problem into this middle and see if the power emotion, 10 power emotions will come handy. So that's about positive awareness. I know who I am, I know where I'm coming from, and I know where I'm going. A positive self-awareness oriented person will have this kind of a self-talk. And absence of positive self-awareness will lead to a loser self-talk like, who knows the reason of my life I'm living? I don't know, I'm just going. Right. Very quickly. Yeah, we are coming to an end, don't worry. Positive self-projection. Communicative, supportive, impressive. And what's not positive self-projection is aloof and being unfriendly, being very hostile. How you walk, talk, listen, and look is you. Let's get into the laboratory of the questions of positive self-projection. Do I project myself at all times? Do I listen more than I talk? Am I an active listener who asks many questions and examples? And when I talk, do I talk legibly and with the deed of making others understand? And do people really feel better when they have my presence? Very nice set of questions. 3 questions technique. The therapy that is associated with developing positive self-projection is 3 questions technique. What should I focus on? What does that focus mean? And what should I do? 3 decisions we must make every single moment, which is very important right now. Myself, Dakshin, Guru Prasanna, we 3 are close neighbors, and we have a problem in our living community. Dakshin says we need to do something about it. Guru Prasanna says, yes, of course, we have been working on this for the 6 months, but we haven't come across any solutions. And as a good senior, they both are coming to my house and they're asking for help. And I tell Dakshin and Guru Prasanna episodes and episodes of that particular X, that particular Y, that particular B, that particular D. This guy does like that, this guy did like this, and that's why we are stuck up. And that guy has always been doing that, this guy has always been doing that. And I have been telling you both that we should not be focusing on this guy, and we should have a different kind of a leadership. We should have represented to the association headquarters, we should have given the letter, and you both have never listened to me. I'm speaking like this, I'm mumbling like this. So both Guru Prasanna and Dakshin give me a tight slap. And they're asking me to ask these 3 questions. What should we focus on? We should focus on a problem that is standing in the man-sized, invigorated monster. We have a problem here. Speak about that. Give a solution on that. Don't speak about those 4 individuals. They are not important right now. Give us solutions. You are 5 years or 6 years elder than us, and you have seen things, and we want you to focus on that problem. Second question, what does this mean? What does this focus mean? This focus means if you are solving this problem right now, we all can live with proper harmony, and kids are here. And if this problem is settled down, the kids can be safe. We can be safe. And we can talk through, those 4 individuals that you are creating a ruckus about. We can sit and we can talk through. All those things will be solved. So this is what is the priority. So this means the whole life. Third question, what should I do? Now, what shall we do about it? You just give us route map for that. Don't keep mumbling about those people who are not at all concerned with this problem right now. So the focus, the meaning, and the course of action. So when a person is focused on these 3 things, the person's self-projection is really good, because the person is not representing I. He represents we. It's not about me, it's about us. It's not about me, it's about you. This is positive self-projection. So always ask 3 questions. You have a problem. Okay, for solving the problem, what should I focus on? Right, what does that focus mean? Right, in alignment to that, what should I do now? Okay, I have a test tomorrow, 10 o'clock, and I did not prepare properly, and there is a power shut on. The light is not going to glow because there is a transformer burst over here, and they say that it's going to take 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, so I'm not going to have the power. I cannot sleep either, or I cannot prepare for the examination as well. So there's a problem. So that student asks the question, what should I focus on? Well, I should focus on how I can withstand this particular cumbersome moment. Why? Why do you have to focus on? What's the meaning for that focus? Because I cannot go and tell this as an excuse that there was a power shutdown and I'm not able to come across. I did not prepare well. Because I need to be something or somebody different than the other people. So what should I do? Well, I'll light up a candle and I'll do the best I can. And I will have several periods of naps, and I would also try to prepare. And this power shutdown is not going to stop me. The 3 decisions the person has made, and he has worked up a solution. And that's called as positive self-projection. No matter what happens, whatever it takes, I would keep continuing. That's the next one. Life is what I create and not what happens to me. Positive self-projection, self-talk. Absence of positive self-projection will make you talk like life is not bed of roses, I'm taking it with suffering, what to do? Well, my mom has given birth, man, what else can I do? I don't have any choice. It's absence of positive self-projection. That's it, I'm done. Be proud of who you are and be proud of being an Indian. And hold these 10 positive self-factors and hold a very good self-image. Thank you so much. Please stop.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
That was a
You're
great
welcome.
presentation.
And I'm really sorry
Thank
to leave.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I understand. Was it a problem by the network or the EB?
Yes, sir. Actually, all the mobile data was drained and all the phones ran out of charge because there was no power right from the morning. And
Yeah, we were running power shutdown all over this town. I know that, but
so even
why didn't you keep the laptop? Speaking.
Oh,
Sir, like in between your video got frozen and your audio was also not audible.
Yes.
No, no, now it's okay.
Now it's okay,
Now,
sir.
Yeah, I was asking Dakshin, why didn't you keep the laptop charged beforehand? So you have a very important presentation today. It's what the question I asked Dakshin.
yes, sir. By the time I woke up, there was no current, sir. So like I didn't know that it was going to be power cut today. And
Right,
the
now
UPS
mind.
is not.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. No problem. So we will have the presentation. What's the time now? Because the boys, 3 boys, have been listening for a long, long time. Now I took almost an hour for
Sir?
finishing this presentation. Yeah, so that.
I have to leave at 8:45, sir.
What's the time now?
For me, it's 8:18. So about 30 minutes.
Oh, 30 minutes. Okay, it's hanging in the balance. So now what we do is we will start afresh. Guru Prasanna gave the introduction, Dakshin was coming inside, and it was only about 4 minutes of the presentation. And you need about 40 minutes for the presentation. So you're the crew members. I give the choice to you. Now, today you have only 25 minutes left because Siddharth wants to leave early. And we started at 5. Oh, it's 6:49 already. It's almost 1 hour and 45 minutes. What shall we do? Shall we start afresh tomorrow?
yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Dakshin,
Yes,
what's
sir.
your thinking? Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. We'll start tomorrow.
All right. A student by name Yal Vendan, 4th grade, I believe. 4th grade or 5th grade? I don't know. He is getting admitted. He's looking for admission. His mother spoke to me this evening, and he's in Shanti school. So, kind of Sibi Adityan's stature, but he's little good in communication, and his mother is looking for direct class. So, if I have told his mother that I would admit Yalvendan from tomorrow onwards, and she hasn't replied as yet. So if she replies and if Yalvendan is joining, then I will have to have direct class for him. In such case, I will ask Mitra and Dakshin to join in the direct class, direct form, because I cannot have a kid alone here. And the parent is also looking forward to give only direct classes, and they are refraining from online class for the kid. So anyhow, I'll update. So if he is joining, he will join either tomorrow or day after. Again, subject to change. Anything can happen. The parent might pull out. They might come up with the next optimum decision. I don't know. But this conversation happened at 4:30 earlier this evening. Kishore is something interesting. His mom told me that he will resume after the examinations. And I said, okay, let him take his time. He has attended almost 7 classes. And as per the audit, I will have to put an admission card for him. If any person attends more than 5 classes, there has to be an admission card. Just like Sanjit's case, Sanjit paid the fees and he attended 15 or 16 classes, but Kishore, it's kind of up in the air. So I saw him a couple of times in the school for picking up his sister. And when he saw me, he was pretending as if he was on the phone call. So then I didn't bother to check out. So if he's not interested, then I'm not going to disturb. It happened day before yesterday. When I went to pick up Mitra, he was near his vehicle and he started speaking over the phone very sincerely when I started approaching towards the gate, which clearly gave me the message that he is suffering with some phobia by looking at me. He's not interested, actually. He's not interested, and I'm not going to disturb who is not interested. Let's see.
Okay, sir.
So, Aswathaman is in RLS. I don't know when he's going to join. All of a sudden he says, all of a sudden he comes up with an entry like a mass hero into the WhatsApp group with a presentation, and he dances with, he's giving all the ballet dance movements. I didn't even ask for a presentation. When he's having 150 marks as a penalty, help it out. And an online presentation, a direct session presentation of RLS like yours, even that is pending. And he's coming up with an all of a sudden top of the hat presentation. I didn't even watch the presentation and I told him this. I don't know about his case as well. So we will have your Dream Universe story of Dhruv, the basketball icon, tomorrow, because it has to be complete. If we have to pay enough justice for your full preparation for the past, yesterday's 2 hours, then you'll have to do it on a proper way. But we'll come to the closure. But before that, during Dakshin's absence, Guru Prasanna, Tanishwar and Siddharth, I told you to pick some topic and make a presentation. And then I had to teach this presentation to you because I have taught this presentation to the other MS Evening Session students, but only you 3 did not get exposed to it. I'm just curious, when I was picking this presentation up, what were all the topics that you chose?
Sir, for me, I was going to do like a mini presentation about like the difference between success and failure.
Beautiful. Okay. Tanishwar, did you have?
Like how like setting goals like helps with life, because like you mentioned, like what is it? If you don't set goals, you're not gonna get anything. So I kind of wanted to do something with that.
Okay, so Tanishwar, will it help? This presentation that I made today, is it giving you the proper information about therapies?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. Okay, Guru Prasanna, what was your choice?
Sir, I thought of doing that periodic table presentation, sir. As you told, suddenly I thought of doing that, sir. After that, you itself came, so that I didn't do that.
Why are you so curious about that topic?
Sir, not like that, sir. If at all you would have given me time, I would have prepared PPT and it would have been good, sir. I wanted, if at all I did presentation means I need to sir, one thing sir, I at least I should make presentation, sir, or else I should switch on my video and I should do presentation, sir. Today I switch on my video is not possible, sir. So I thought of doing PPT presentation, sir.
You know what? We have time. Anyhow, we are going to make the skit presentation tomorrow. And Siddharth wants to leave early, but still Siddharth has got a little bit more time. So we will listen to your presentation. Come up with the presentation. Come on.
Sir, really?
Really?
Okay, sir. Just a second, sir. I just before you took the the presentation, sir, I just closed. I'll just open it again.
Okay, it's not going to take a while. So Siddharth, is it good? I mean, listen to his presentation and then we all will leave.
Yes, sir. It's good.
All right, okay.
Very recently, I wrote a test on periodic tables. Again, the same topic.
No, you say Mahabharata and Ramayana had been screenplayed and directed and been showcased by many authors. But there are some animated authors, when they speak about it, the story and epic, it appears as if it's new. So although you have wrote the examination on it, and Guru Prasanna is making a presentation on it, it's going to be completely different. So keep an open
Yes,
mind.
sir.
Dakshin, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm ready, sir. Shall I present?
We are waiting. Go.
Yes, sir. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, I'm able to see. Good.
Yes, sir. Shall I start, sir?
Please, that's a beautiful outlay of the picture.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
only took 8 to 10 minutes, sir. Sir, just a second, sir. I'll just connect my charger. 1 second.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Okay, brace yourselves, everyone. Guru Prasanna on stage. Go.
Greetings, everyone. Today, I'll be going to talk about modern periodic table. So first, we'll look on why we need a modern periodic table. Like before a lot of decades, when elements were discovered, a proper classification was required for the easy and the better understanding and to provide more comfortable way of learning. For that, the periodic table was invented, and it was important to organize things so it would be easy for us to learn more about the elements and how it has been classified on the basis. Next upon, we'll look at the history of the periodic table. The first person to classify the elements was Dobrain, who is a German scientist. He found the elements and he classified the elements in 1829, which was called the Dobrain tribes. But in his classification, there were some demerits that he should not have proposed that. One of the major things was in his classification was he was classified everything upon the mean of the two elements, and the middle element will have the mean of the upper and the lower element. It was his method of classification, but this was not successful for all the elements, and it was only successful for a few elements, so that his classification was not agreed. After that, a few years after that, the English scientist called John Newlands put forward his law of octets. He arranged all the 56 elements that were there at that time. He just compared these elements with the musical instrument, and he arranged everything in the atomic mass. He arranged he had 8 horizontal, like he had 8 horizontal rows, which in the ninth element in the periodic table will have the same property that the first element had. The 10th element will have the same property that the second element had. This was the thing that he compared with the musical instrument, and John Newlands put his law, but his law was also not successful. He was also not successful in his accomplishment, because like it was only till calcium his achievements were correct. After calcium, his like his rule was not accomplished for the other elements. Only till calcium, that's the 20th element, till that it was correct, but after that it was not good. It was not related to the properties of the elements, so his optics was also not considered as a good one. So you could see here, this is Dobryns and this is Newlands, who are the scientists who were the who basically was the main person to classify the elements and to showcase how the periodic table should be. But the first person to find to get a periodic table was Mendeleev in 1869, just 5 years after the John Newland's law. He's a Russian chemist called Dmitry Mendeleev published a periodic table, which was the first periodic table, because like the before scientists only just classified the elements and they did not have a periodic table, but Mendeleev was the first person to classify the elements as periodic table, and he named that as Mendeleev's periodic table with 63 elements. He also arranged all the elements with the atomic relative atomic mass, but he did some other things that made his table more successful than John Newland's classification. The Mendeleev's periodic table states that the physical and the chemical properties of the element are in a periodic function of their atomic mass, which was the thing that has been changed in the modern periodic table. We'll go and we'll see that soon. This is Dmitry Mendeleev's periodic table, and this is Dmitry Mendeleev's. In this periodic table, you might there is one or two disadvantages in this periodic table. The major thing was about hydrogen. It was placed alone where there was no reasons for it. But finally, in the modern periodic table, they found the reason. But while the Mendeleev's periodic table was found, there was no reason for why hydrogen has been placed here. After that, if you look at the two elements, that's cobalt and nickel, you might see that cobalt has the highest higher atomic mass than nickel, but it has been placed reversely. This was one of the major things that happened, and this was the major thing why Mendeleev's periodic table did not achieve the success that it was wanted, because the atomic mass of cobalt is 58.93 and the atomic mass of nickel is 58.71. It should have been, nickel should have been there in the first, and after that only cobalt should be there, but it did not been correct in the Mendeleev's periodic table. After that, in 1913, Henry Moseley discovered that atomic number is the fundamental property of the element. Before this, like Dmitry Mendeleev and the before scientists told that the relative atomic mass was the fundamental property of the element, but Henry Moseley was the first person to found that the atomic number was the fundamental property. In this modern periodic table, he just changed the law of Dmitry Mendeleev, and he just proposed the modern periodic table. It states that the chemical and the physical properties of the elements of the periodic function of their atomic masses. This was the major difference between the Mendeleev's periodic table and the modern periodic table, because Mendeleev's periodic table was dependent on atomic mass, and here in the modern periodic table it was dependent on atomic number. He is Henry Moseley. And next we'll look at upon the structure of the modern periodic table. Like if you look at the structure of the modern periodic table, it's truly different from the other periodic table. Like if at all you just draw a periodic table with rows and columns, it will not be looking like the modern periodic table, or like it will be just with rows and columns attached to each other. But in the modern periodic table, because of the atomic mass, Henry Moseley has classified all the elements from the lower atomic mass to the higher atomic mass. In the modern periodic table, there are 7 horizontal rows. Those are called the periods, and the 8 vertical columns, those are called the group. Sorry, and the 18 vertical columns, those are called the groups. We'll be looking upon periods and groups soon. After this, when we think of periods and groups, it will fix a box. That box is known as the atomic number. So this is the modern periodic table. Just a second. This is the modern periodic table, and these are known as the periods, and these are known as the groups. In this this box represent an atomic number. Here if you look at, I have just placed the empty periodic table for the notifications of the periods, rows, and atomic number. Next we'll look upon the atomic number. Atomic number is defined as the number of protons present in the nucleus of the atom. Like why do we think that atomic number is the most fundamental property? Means it's because it's the number of protons present in the nucleus of the atom. All the atoms of the same element have the same number of protons in the nuclei. Like they all will have a different atomic number, and they all will have a number of protons differ from each other. In atomic mass, it was not the difference between the first element, the second element and the third element was really close, but in the atomic number, the difference between each element is the same, and it's denoted by the letter S. Next we look upon, as I told, the significance of periods and groups. In periods, as I told, it's the horizontal row. It's the number of electron shells or the electron orbits present in an atom. We can predict the number of shells present, we can just predict the number of shells present in an atom without drawing the electronic configuration. We'll just do the electronic configuration method to check what is the number of protons present in the element. Without doing that, we could easily find how many in which shell it has been classified through the periods. And in the groups are the column the groups are the columns, and it could be also called as the families. In the elements in the group often will have the same chemical properties. As I told in Dmitry Mendeleev's periodic table, in this periodic table it all have satisfied. That was the major thing. It had the same chemical properties that till the 118th element, it all had the same chemical properties, so that it was the successful thing in the periodic table. The modern periodic table came as a successful thing in the periodic table. And this is the modern periodic table. In this there are 7 groups and 7 periods and 18 groups. Why? Because from 58 to 71 and 90 to 103 has been classified here, because they are called as lanthanide series and actinoid series, because 57th element is lanthanide and the 89th element is actinoid. They all will have the same properties, so that they all are classified here. After that, the group 1. In this group, we have all will have the same chemical properties, though that property is called as alkali metals. In the second group, all like barium, magnesium, calcium, and the other elements will have the same property. That chemical properties are known as alkaline earth metals. After that, from third row till the 12th row, there are no classifications of names, because they are all classified as one of the major elements. After that, if you look at the 18th row, they are known as noble gases, because like they in the Mendeleev's periodic table, noble gases were coming as the coming in the zero groups, which was not like Mendeleev thought it would not be a disturbance for the other elements, so he classified it at the last. But in this periodic table, noble gases have a specific place, and they have a specific role to play in this periodic table. So these are the things which are being placed in the periodic table. So next, at last, we look upon the merits of the periodic table from the Mendeleev's periodic table and the other classifications. Like in the major two reasons why the modern periodic table succeed was like elements were classified and arranged on the basis of the increasing atomic number, which was most fundamental. Like nobody Dmitry Mendeleev also did not know the atomic number was the fundamental thing. He also just thought atomic mass was the thing that they all were in need, but it was wrong. Atomic number was the thing which changed all the modern all the periodic table, and he classified the modern periodic table as a successful thing. And the next one is like it corrected the anomalies in the Mendeleev's periodic table, as I told. Like in nickel and cobalt's thing, the elements were rearranged, and in the modern periodic table it was arranged properly in a way that it could be arranged. So that's it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well done,
Great job, Guru.
Very well done. Nice presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone has any questions towards this presentation?
No, sir. Everything explained was pretty clear, so I don't have any questions.
Okay. Yeah, Siddharth.
So Guru, for your presentation, it was a very good presentation. I learned quite a bit about the periodic table. But in the periodic table, are there any elements that are toxic or bad for human life?
Could you please repeat that? I wasn't able to understand.
So on the periodic table of elements, there are many elements, like hundreds. So are any of them bad or like harmful to humans?
Yes, that like there are about 13 elements which are harmful not only for the humans but also for all living beings. Like there are almost 13 elements which has been classified newly. Like if you put search in the Google, don't want, like if you just type the danger elements in periodic table, it will just show like some 13 elements which are more dangerous, that too upon like in the actinoid series. Like in the actinoid series there are 2 to 3 elements which are most dangerous.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Guru Prasanna, do you realize that? Yeah. Do you realize that this particular concept has been catching a lot of attention only in the past 3 or 4 years? And why is it so? Even in the syllabus, it is not covered so much with in-depth before 3 or 4 years, but right now, the scholars have added this concept into the syllabus very keenly, and what could be the reason for it in chemistry?
Yes, sir. Sir, like the book, sir. The book has been changed, sir. Like in CBSE, sir. Like it's been 6 years or so, sir. It has been changed, sir. But before 6 years, it was not there. I hope, sir. Like I haven't seen that book, sir. But basically, sir. Like our ma'am told. These for the past 6 or 7 years, they are more many students are more complicated on the periodic table, sir, and they are yes, sir, and they were not able to study this, sir. Sir, I don't know what is the main reason on why they are specifically telling us to learn the periodic table for the past 4 or 5 years, sir.
This is because of the evolution effect. Like if we take physics as a science, chemistry as a science, we only have the scholars of 18th and 19th century who have immersed this concept, right from light till rays, right from chemical evolutions till the particles of intrinsic chemical evolutions. We had been having only the scholars of 18th and 19th century. But of late, after 1999, there were young, a little bit, when I say young, at least now middle-aged professors, there were some inventions, there were some kind of change in the parenthesis of scientific thinking, which came a little bit closer in the dilution of the age-old concept, which could possibly confuse a young student's mind. Point number one. So they had to go back to the ancient teaching methods, and they had to give a new nomenclature, like a modern pediatric table and all that, in order to make the students a little bit more confirmed with what they are studying. That's point number one. And point number two is as the technology has spread its hands, these core sciences have got into a lot of demand. And BSc and MSc chemistry and BSc and MSc physics and maths had been the courses that had been in more demand in the past 12 or 13 years after the smartphone technology and the technological, the base of the technology has taken its own new forms and shapes, and they wanted this science to be magnified in a different way. So some of the researchers, just like the lexicographers come up with the dictionary, these people, the team of people, the Senate people, came up with the research of taking up ancient physics and chemistry concept, and they name modern. Take the old concept and name it in a new way. So that is why you're finding that in your syllabus. And the third reason is the evolution of CBSE, IGCSE and ICSE syllabus. So it should contain lots of new brand labels of scientific learning mechanisms, and that's why these concepts have been taken into a different form. These are three reasons. Siddharth?
Sir, I have to go now, sir.
Yeah, we are all leaving. Anyways, good presentation, Guru Prasanna. I really appreciate you for the compilation of the points were really, really nice. The presentation was very clean and to the point. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we are closing today's session, and tomorrow we are having the skit staged up. So be wary of that, and beyond all the possible obstacles that could come tomorrow, make sure you finish it. Lakshan?
Yes, sir.
Guru Prasanna.
Yes, sir. I will finish it, sir. Sir, but whenever I take off the periodic table, I'm getting nervous, sir. Sir, at the time, sir, when I was doing the periodic table, sir, like before.
Once again, we will release Siddharth, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Siddharth, we'll meet you tomorrow. I'll clear this and we all will leave.
Okay, sir.
Bye, Siddharth.
Sir. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Keep
Bye.
shining light strong.
Expect great things.
Bye,
Keep
Siddharth.
shining light strong.
Siddharth.
Bye. Yeah, Guru, continue.
Yes, sir. Sir, before when I was doing the presentation, sir, before I was doing, sir, like I said no, sir. Like my friend was not doing good, sir. So that I got nervous, sir. But today I don't know why I got nervous, sir. Slightly I got nervous. It's sweating.
Loser, Rani. Your presentation was good, and it didn't appear that you were nervous. You're coming up with a lot of revelations which are completely disconnected with the current reality. I said your presentation was good, and why did you? And as a matter of fact, why should you become nervous in MS evening sessions when you have your own close friends as listeners?
Sir, no, sir. It's getting nervous, sir. I'm not trying to be nervous, sir. Knowingly or unknowingly, I'm getting nervous, sir.
Knowingly or unknowingly, I am getting nervous. You're good. So it's only a myth. Don't worry about it. It was a good presentation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is there any other questions before we call it a day?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so in that case, Dakshin Siddharth, Tanishwar, and Guru Prasanna. We'll meet tomorrow. Expect great things at Love. Bye-bye. Good night. And
Bye.
have a nice day, Tanish. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir. Bye, everyone. Expect great
Good night,
things from.
Sir,
Bye. Yeah.
sir, if you could please share that video with that you just made a presentation now, sir. You'll just share that in the YouTube, sir. You could share it to me also, sir.
Which presentation? Today's session's presentation?
This presentation.
This presentation.
Yes, sir. You said you had.
Yeah. I'll post it in MS Evening Sessions YouTube channel, and I'll post a link to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.